So you want to sew a pencil skirt. Coming live and direct from St. Anne, Jamaica, I'm going to show you how. The first step to sewing a pencil skirt is drafting a pattern. And these are the tools that you need in order to achieve that. A pencil, a marker, French curve, rulers, paper scissors, and something to draft your pattern on. I am using thick card paper. These are the measurements that you need to take, and I'm demonstrating those measurements on my Monica dress form from Royal Dress Forms. I love her so much. First things first, draw a vertical line equal to the length of your skirt plus an extra 3 inches for the waistband and the hem. Square a horizontal line at both ends and draw a 2-inch space at the top. Measure and mark your waist to hip and waist to knee length from the second horizontal line. Draw a horizontal line from each of the marks that you just made with a right angle line from the first vertical line. Create a rectangle to enclose your pattern. The width of this rectangle should be 1/4 of your hip circumference plus 1 inch. I'm making my lines darker so that you guys can see exactly what I'm drafting. Label the waist, hip, knee, and hem lines accordingly. Divide your waist circumference by 4 and mark it going across the waistline. Divide your hip circumference by 4 and mark it going across the hip line. In a similar fashion, divide your knee circumference by 4 and mark it going across the knee line. On the hemline, mark the same amount as you did on the knee line minus 1/2 inch. Use a ruler to connect all the marks that you just made, and you will start to see the skirt taking shape. Use a French curve in order to smooth the hip, because we don't need the hip to be as sharp as this, baby girl. Add a right angle line at the waistband. Since we're going to be making this with stretchy fabric, I won't be adding any allowance because I want my skirt to fit snug. If it's the same thing for you, then follow my lead. But if you don't want your circle skirt to be snug, you can go ahead and add a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around the top, the side, and the bottom, but not at the center front. Cut the pattern from the paper and label it. And as you can see, I folded my pattern in half so that when I cut this from the paper, I will end up with one entire half of the skirt instead of 1/4 of the skirt. Moving on to part 2 of making a pencil skirt, which is cutting it from the fabric using the pattern. The beauty of making yourself a pattern is that you will never have to do it again unless you gain or lose weight or you're making a skirt for someone else. But trust me, you're going to save yourself so much time just drafting this pattern, because whenever you're ready to make this pencil skirt, you can just pop it onto your fabric and you are good to go. Some good fabric choices are cotton lycra and stretch velvet. I am using yellow cotton lycra that I got from Pink's Fabrics. As long as your fabric stretches 4 ways, you can make a pencil skirt with it. This will give you maximum flexibility when wearing your skirt, because there's nothing like wearing a skirt and feeling restricted. Yuck. Fold your fabric in half and put the pattern on it like this. Cut around the pattern and do this twice to get the front piece and the back piece. Part 3 of making a pencil skirt is sewing it. And in order to achieve this, you want to put the front and back pieces right sides together and sew along the side seams. You can use pins or clips for stability, or you could just freestyle it like me. I am using a zigzag stitch with a stitch length of 2 and a stitch width of 6. This helps to maintain the stretch in the side seams. If you like my sewing machine, I am using a Singer 4423 heavy duty sewing machine, and you can get 10% off on singer.com if you use my code GABBY10. Now this is where you try your skirt on. And if you want it to fit you a little bit tighter, you can run another line of zigzag stitches a half of an inch or a quarter of an inch away from the first line of stitches and try it on again. But if you're satisfied with how your skirt fits you, and if you've made adjustments and you're finally happy with how it looks, then you can go ahead and finish the raw edges, or you can just let it stay because stretchy fabrics don't fray. And two ways that you can finish the raw edge is by using an overcast stitch or by using an overlocker / serger. Cut a length of 2-inch elastic that is 2 inches shorter than your waistband. I chose to use 2-inch elastic because I just love having a thick waistband. But if you want to, you can use a 1-inch elastic, and in that case, instead of putting a 2-inch space at the top of your skirt, you'd put a 1-inch space when you're drafting the pattern, that is. Overlap the ends of the elastic and stitch them together. Divide the elastic and the waistline of the skirt into 4 equal parts and mark them using tailor's chalk or pins. Match the 4 points on the elastic with the 4 points on the skirt and pin them together. You want to put the seam of the elastic at the center back of the skirt. Sew the elastic to the skirt using a zigzag stitch. Fold the elastic down and top stitch the end of it with the same zigzag stitch or with a twin needle. The only thing about a twin needle though is that you have to stitch on the right side rather than on the wrong side. Now from the wrong side of the skirt, I want you to measure and fold 1 inch from the hem and pin it down. For best results, press hemming tape to the end of your skirt, and this will give your hem a lot more structure. Now flip back over to the right side of your skirt and stitch 1 inch away from the hem using a zigzag stitch or again a twin needle. Comment twin needle and I'll post a tutorial showing you how to sew with it. This will maintain the stretch at the hem of your skirt. You can also use elastic thread if that feels much more comfortable and accessible to you. If you made it this far, comment, "I can't wait to make this pencil skirt." Happy sewing, and remember, sewing is a superpower.